So today Dr. Ranjana Dhanu is going to join me. She's one of the best gynecologists and surgeons in the country today, and she has over 28 years of experience. And together we're going to talk about a very important issue for women, that is PCOS, that is polycystic ovary syndrome. And I'm just going to invite her to come here and talk to me about this issue. I personally been her patient, and for the last 5 years now, she's treated me, and I have been suffering uh, with PCOS for the last. It is under her guidance that I have learned how to manage my own PCOS. So I'm gonna ask her to connect with me now, and we're gonna talk about this issue for. How are you,
So I
doctor?
must say, I'm good, but I think Panchgani is doing a lot of good to you,
It's doing
thanks to the lockdown.
I love
So
it. It's
any
been
sort
so
of
wonderful.
problem, I think, has its
It's
benefits
really
as well. So thanks to the corona for that fresh look on your face.
thank you. I'm glad it's coming from you, so that next time you can tell me I'm looking much better in my skin. How are you,
You
doctor?
are
How is
amazing.
it?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on this. And let's go ahead
Thank you
and
so much.
educate.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining me here today. You have personally helped me. I was just sharing with everyone how you've personally helped me manage my PCOS for the last 5 years. And I think we've been speaking about this for a very long time, that it's very important to spread awareness about PCOS to many women out there and to families of people dealing with PCOS. So I want to thank you for joining us today and taking out time to do
You're
that.
welcome anytime, anytime.
So, Doctor, why don't we start by talking a little bit about you and your journey? And if you can just share a little bit about you with everyone, that would be great.
Okay, so I'm the last born of a very eminent doctor and an ENT surgeon. My father was an ENT surgeon in Aurangabad. And then I got to KM Hospital, and then I graduated out of there, and then the Wadia Hospital. And here I am after 28 years of practice, really enjoying every bit of it. And I must say that I have healing personified in my bones or my veins, you can say, because I'm genetically prone to have been a doctor. All my siblings are doctors. And from the
Oh,
time
so
I started to speak, yes. So from the time I started to speak, I knew I wanted to become a doctor. I was trained that way by my, and it just
right.
so happened, and I don't really regret having taken that decision. So I'm happy here.
Thank you so much, Doctor. So,
My
Doctor,
passion in gynecology has been, of course, endocrinology. So I specialize in PCOS, and then also I'm a minimal access surgeon and a robotic surgeon. So those are the surgical skills, but clinically we do see a lot of PCO. So we're here to speak about it today.
like I earlier mentioned to all of y'all out there, that Doctor has personally done a few surgeries on me, and I have been very lucky to be under her guidance. I think she's one of the best doctors in the country, and so that's why, once again, it is amazing to have
Thank
you here.
you,
Doctor,
thank you,
start
Prachi.
talk about PCOS. So, what exactly is PCOS? For most people who don't know about this, what exactly is PCOS?
So PCOS is a condition which is due to hormonal imbalance that the ovaries start to gather all the eggs, and that starts off as a syndrome, which has a variation in its presentation. And depending on the presentation, we say this is the presentation of the PCO disease that she has. Okay. Now, having said that, the incidence of PCO is almost 1 in 4, as opposed to what you see on the net, which could be 1 in 10 or 1 in 8. And it's on the rise only because of obesity on the rise, more of a sedentary lifestyle, and of course, more clinically aware clientele as well, or clinically aware girls as well, because previously we used to see girls who were hairy on the face or whatever, and this we just pass it off saying, oh, she has a hairy tendency, her aunts are hairy or whatever, but this was clinically hirsutism which was being ignored. So now,
Okay.
with the awareness and with the kind of diagnostic tools that we have, we're seeing more and more of PCO.
So, doctor, you said that this is also because of obesity. So, is obesity
In
a
fact,
cause?
Put to obesity. Obesity is one of the contributing factors for PCO. So the way in which PCO could manifest, Prachi, is varied. It could have varied presentations. A 13-year-old could come to me with her mother saying she's been having periods for almost a year, almost a month and a half, and it's not stopping at all.
Right.
There could be a girl coming at the age of 17 with severe acne. There
Right.
could be somebody at 21 coming with acne and hirsutism, facial hair on the breast, below the navel. There could be somebody at 27 coming to me with fertility issues. There could be somebody at 35 coming to me post conception and post delivery with bleeding issues and probably endometrial polyps because of thickening of the uterine lining. And there could be somebody who could present in the perimenopause with hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and endometrial carcinoma. So there is a varied presentation
Right.
or a plethora of presentations that we could see with PCOD. But remember, once diagnosed as a PCO, you're always a PCO. So you have to learn to live with PCO.
So this is a chronic problem. This is not something that you can be treated overnight, that you give somebody medication and there it goes away. It's something that has to be managed all throughout your life. Am I
So
right?
let me just make it very simple for you, Prachi, that understand every girl is born with a limited number of eggs. Okay? And with the menarche, which is the onset of menses, she starts to ovulate, and that is when she has her recruitment of eggs that starts off on the second day of the period. And on the 14th day, approximately, when she ovulates. When there is a lack of ovulation or anovulation, these eggs start to get trapped in the ovary cycle after cycle after cycle, and these trapped eggs start to harbor the male hormone. And that is why, because of the androgen excess and insulin excess, you tend to have acne, you tend to have the male hormone pattern coming on the face, you tend to have centripetal obesity, you have the hair growth and all of that. This is totally linked to the amount of weight that you have. The more the weight, the more severe the PCO.
Okay.
Now understand that with PCO, as a thumb rule, there is an association of thyroid or prolactin.
Okay.
These two also contribute in water retention and weight gain. And that is why you need to take an overview when you diagnose a girl with PCO. You need to do a battery of tests and see whether there's associated hyperprolactinemia, whether there's associated hypothyroidism or not, and then treat it accordingly. Understand again, if you have PCO and if you have thyroid, you may require medication for a long time. And that does not mean it's going to be compromising on your fertility or whatever. Believe me, out of 1 in 4 girls who we see with PCO, of the population at large with PCO, only 4% were the very obese or who have severe hirsutism are the ones who can actually have fertility issues. Otherwise, it could even go unnoticed.
Okay. So the fertility issues over here are minimal, you're saying, and it is only, so basically weight management is a major focus over here in PCOS.
Now, Prachi, what happens at times is I have mothers coming to me saying, Doc, her cosmetologist says she has PCO, but I've gone and done a sonography and her ovaries look fine. So I don't believe my daughter has PCO. So there are different criteria to define PCO. If the girl is lean, if the girl is thin, her ovaries may not show the clumping or a mole distribution of follicles in her ovaries, but yet she may be a variant of PCO.
Right.
So either having excessive follicles in the ovaries or irregular menses or absent menses or menstrual patterns which could be bizarre. It could be bleeding in 15 days or it could be no bleeding for 45 days. Okay, associated with hirsutism or acne are all the criteria that you clump together. So at least a few together are then included in the Rotterdam criteria. I don't want to make it very clinical and scientific for you, but that is what we do, and clumping criteria to see where we can fit her in the PCO window.
Right. So I assume what doctor's trying to say here, guys, is that if you have any of these symptoms, that is extreme weight gain or irregular periods or any kind of facial hair growth or a lot of acne on your face, anything combined together, you can be a PCOS patient, and that is when you should immediately head to a gynecologist. Am I right?
There's also a lot of mood swings that can happen premenstrually, and that is associated with prolactin excess. So mothers say, I don't know, doc, what happens to her, but she really goes berserk. She
Right.
starts craving for sweet, she has mood swings, she really becomes crabby, and once she has her period, she's all fine. So there
Right.
you do her prolactin levels, put her on a tablet, and there she goes, and she's all sorted with her moods and emotions.
So does this happen because PCOS is a hormonal imbalance at the end of the day?
Yes, very much so. And we really don't know what the cause for PCOS is. It's genetic, but there could be only certain factors which can worsen it, and that is associated hypothyroidism or associated diabetes or obesity. So you have to have a total control on it with lifestyle modulation and hitting your weight.
Right.
So all your life, once you're diagnosed with a PCO, you need to keep your weight under check, because the more the peripheral weight, the more severe the PCO. Well, I wish I could share that cup of coffee with you in Panchmani.
Why don't you have something on your table?
Oh, I have something. I just had my black coffee.
I wish I could have even said that I'll courier it right away. So,
Okay.
Doctor, you're talking PCOD, and a lot of people have asked us this question: is PCOD and PCOS the same thing? So, can you elaborate on
I just mentioned in the beginning of the talk that PCOS is a syndrome due to a hormonal disorder due to chronic anovulation, which causes a clumping or collection of follicles in the ovaries which harbor the male hormone, and the manifestations of the male hormone clumping on the body is further diagnosed as PCOD depending on what she presents with. As simple as that.
Understood. All right, doctor. So,
now I have young girls who are cosmetically aware. We treat a lot of girls from the cosmetically aware groups, and they say, "Oh, doc, I need an immediate answer, and can I have my ovaries drilled?" And there's a big no, because there's no place for surgical treatment of PCO unless she has a fertility issue where she's failed to ovulate with ovulation inducing drugs. So one has to be very judicious while advising any surgical techniques in order to help a girl with PCO. So it's totally lifestyle modulation, exercise, and with certain drugs that we like to manage PCO. Counseling. You know how many hours I've spent with you.
Absolutely. many hours. I think this is also very important for people who have whose family members have PCOS to understand this,
Yes.
because not many people, I mean, a lot of people in my life initially didn't know what PCOS was, and they didn't understand it. And this was a huge thingy. We never heard of this term before, PCOS. Wow, how come you have it? And why is it common nowadays? Why is everyone having it? It's very important for people to understand that this is common and it's okay if you have it. And you can have emotional upheavals, you can have mood swings, you can have, and I think that is why it's very important for family members also to understand this and to hear our conversation right now. Doctor, one very important thing I want to tell you is that a lot of questions have been taken, that I'm going to ask you today, have been taken from our viewers itself and our followers who have sent us questions through the week. So I'm also going to take some time in the middle and ask those questions out to you. So if we can I'll just take a few questions of them right now before we move into a little more deeper understanding of how to manage our PCOS and how to create a better lifestyle. So the first question is, and guys, I'm going to keep these questions anonymous because we don't want our viewers to be named. So
they have a right to privacy. It's okay. Yeah.
So the first question is, I am a virgin. My doctor has prescribed Yasmin. Is it okay for me to take it?
So there's a connection between Yasmin and virginity per se, but the Yasmin probably has been prescribed by the gynecologist in order to take care of a PCOD. Now understand, Yasmin is basically a fourth generation pill. In PCOD, because you have androgen excess, the component in Yasmin is drospirenone, and that goes and attacks the androgen receptor. Once you put a patient on the skin starts to glow, the acne stop developing, the hair growth tends to come down. So that is the whole reason for taking Yasmin. But if she thinks it's going to tamper with her virginity or whatever, it's not that. It's just that giving a contraceptive pill does not give you the license to be promiscuous. So you've got to understand that.
Right.
The pill may prevent you from pregnancy, but not sexually transmitted disease. The pill is being prescribed to you not as a contraceptive here, but something to take care of you cosmetically and for cycle regulation.
Right. I think many parents might question. I think her question, if she's a virgin, she's never had sex, then she might be wondering why a contraceptive pill in the first place. How is contraceptive?
Yeah, because a contraceptive pill has multiple uses, my dear. Like an aspirin could be used for headache, for joint pains, for hypertension, for pregnancy, for circulation in pregnancy. So similarly, we're giving it to her for cycle regulation.
All right. The second question is, my husband and me have been trying to conceive a child, but it hasn't been successful. Could PCOS be a reason?
Obviously, yes, could be. But whenever a couple comes to us anxious to conceive, we say 50% of the responsibility is that of the husband and 50% of the wife. So you can't just point a finger at the wife and say, oh, you PCOS. No. So the 50% of the husband is ability to have intercourse, one. And second, the quality of the semen.
Okay.
Having evaluated that, then you turn to the female. You see clinical stigma for PCO, whether there's any acne, hirsutism, irregular periods, mood swings, hair around the breast, below the navel, centripetal obesity,
Right.
irregular menses, sonographic criteria suggesting PCO, associated prolactin or thyroid excess, and you start correcting that, and there you go. And you can easily put her on certain fertility inducing drugs. So, because we are here with this question, I think we can just cover up the treatment for infertility associated with PCOD and how we treat it. So we treat it by giving her ovulation-inducing drugs, which are also anti-cancer drugs called letrozole, or we can give her clomiphene citrate, which is just given in the early part of the cycle for 5 days in order to enhance egg recruitment. In order to reduce the hyperinsulinemia, we have anti-diabetic drugs being given as well. So very commonly, I find couples or parents of patients who are young asking me, oh doc, why are you prescribing an anti-diabetic drug? My daughter's going to faint and stuff like that. And I say, look, again, this is something to reduce the hyperinsulinemia, so it is safe. This was a breakthrough in the year 2000, wherein this was proved to be a non-surgical treatment for PCOD. Anti-androgen drugs being given in order to take care of the skin. And of course, in patients who do not respond, only then laparoscopic drilling of the ovaries.
All right.
But that also has a certain fertility enhancement criteria where we just drill 4 holes, 4 seconds, 40 watts, and just 4 punctures at 4 millimeters.
All right. Thank you
That's
so
the
much,
fertility enhancing approach.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, for your questions. I hope your questions were answered by Dr. Dhanu. Doctor, I'm going to go back to some of our questions now.
Sure.
So, how exactly does one manage PCOS? What is the perfect lifestyle to have? How do you manage PCOS? Because if there is no treatment and if this is a lifelong managing thing, then how do we manage it?
It all depends on how she is presented to me.
Okay.
You get the point? So she could either come to me with mood swings, which are very severe, or she could come to me with severe acne, or she could come to me with infertility. So we have to address these issues. And of course, the baseline of any PCO treatment is seeing to it that you give her cycle regulation. If she is infertile, you give her ovulation-inducing drugs. If she is anovulatory and having irregular cycles, then you put her on a contraceptive pill for cycle regulation. In addition, depending on whether she has a thyroid excess or not, you correct the thyroid. Very often girls are reluctant to take thyroid treatment, saying, doc, if I start it now, then it's going to go on for a lifetime. But it may happen that if you take it for a while and you abandon it, your thyroid could really jump. So you need an endocrinologist's opinion every 3 months to see that your thyroid levels are all normal. Having said that, even irregular periods, girls have to be careful with safe sex, because I do see a lot of girls having issues with pregnancies, thinking, oh, I tried to have intercourse between the early part of my cycle and the delayed part of my cycle, but because there's no certain ovulation, they'll end up getting pregnant. and then they
Right.
swallow an eye pill, and then they have all irregular bleeding and all that stuff. So understand that there is no safe period. It's only a maximum period of fertility around the mid-cycle, which helps you get pregnant. The rest of it has to be taken care of either with a pill or with a condom.
Right. Okay.
Having said that, again, understand that PCO is there to stay. PCO will never go. Whoever in alternate medicine tries to promise you that, oh, I'm practicing. Of course, I respect every other form of therapy, whether it's allopathy or any other form of therapy, but understand that there is no permanent disappearance of PCO whatsoever.
So,
If a
doctor,
girl loses weight, her
yeah.
ovaries may not show the stigma of PCO that she was showing one, or it
Right.
could be the dexterity of the sonologist, or it could be the efficacy of the machine, the resolution of the machine on which she's doing the sonography. But understand, once diagnosed as a PCO, she's always a PCO.
With the
There's no
PCO.
denial there, and
So,
it's
doctor,
not so difficult to treat.
but how can any PCOS patient who knows that they are already being treated, but at the same time, what kind of lifestyle changes can we do as PCOS patients? Like I'm talking about exercising or the correct
Yes.
diet. What kind of a lifestyle changes can we do? How important is that?
So your lifestyle modulation includes at least 1 hour of exercise. It could be
Right.
Zumba, it could be a walk, it could be any sort of exercise. Or the best thing in the lockdown, I've advised everybody to invest in a Fitbit and see to it that they take at least 8,000 steps. Not everybody is as lucky as you getting locked down in Panchgani and taking long walks on the mountains without a mask. So,
True.
so in Mumbai, you have to invest in a Fitbit, do at least 8,000 steps. Yoga really helps with centripetal obesity. So if you do Surya Namaskars, it really helps. Breathing exercises help. Your diet. Somehow they say there's a connection between dairy and acne for the simple reason that once you shed off your carbs and once you shed off your dairy, you tend to lose weight. And once you lose weight, your acne tends to. So
Okay.
all of that.
So
And you
what
have to
else?
just go by a weight chart of keeping your weight optimum for your height.
Okay. Is there any
And
particular?
that won't happen unless you assess your prolactin and thyroid levels. Otherwise, you'll try to do the best you can with your diet, but if you don't optimize your prolactin and thyroid, you're not going to get your satisfactory results that you desire.
Okay. So, doctor, what is there any particular diet other than dairy that one should avoid, like low carb diet and anything in particular, or anything in particular that people with PCOS can eat to improve their health or
See,
to manage?
it's very simple, Prachi. I always tell people never contradict nature. So don't do an excess of anything. An excess of a keto, excess of low carb, excess of intermittent fasting doesn't really work. So you should have a balance between your calorie consumption and expenditure.
Okay.
And of course, with the help of a dietitian, if you are having excessive or suffering from excessive or severe obesity, then you need a dietitian's advice. Otherwise, there's so much that you can check online, because what happens is very severe diets also make you temperamental, edgy, emotional, and that really disturbs the balance of the family. And understand, whatever said and done, a woman or a girl is a backbone of a family. And you know how in the lockdown, mental issues or psychological issues have really, really affected the population at large. So we don't want another temperamental issue just going on a very rigid diet.
Absolutely.
So I think a balance and trying to match your energy expenditure and your consumption would really help. Because it has got to be a sustainable weight loss. You can't go on a sparrow diet with dietary meal supplements and meal substitution and coming down to 600 or 800 calories a day for 3 months, and then suddenly you balloon up again. That doesn't really work well on your system at all.
Right.
Another thing I must say, Prachi, is bariatric surgery is being misused for management of PCO.
Sorry, what is this, doctor?
Bariatric surgery. Bariatric surgery is clipping your stomach. It's a surgery basically advised for obesity. So unless there is a very clear indication with an endocrinologist where the patient's sugar levels are not coming under control for excessive obesity, morbid obesity, only there is where you have a chance of going ahead to choose bariatric surgery as an option and not for cosmetic reasons.
Right. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. Let me just give you all a shout out once. Hi Rini, hi Aditi, hi Jaya, hi Jorda, hi Rahul, hi Amita, hello everyone. Guys, if you all have any questions that you would like to ask Dr. Dhanu, please mention them on the comment below and we'll take your questions in the next 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, please put them down here right away and I'm sure Doctor will love to answer them
So,
for you.
while they're listing their questions, Prachi, let me make you understand how PCO can really affect your lifestyle or your day to day life. Like if there's
Please tell.
prolactin excess, of course, there's mood swings and irritability, but raised prolactin can also lead to breast pain prior to periods, lack of sexual desire. So suddenly couples wonder like what happened after marriage. There was a little bit of weight gain. And then she started off with mood swings and it's getting worse day by day. That's how I see couples presenting to me. Or if she's hypothyroid, associated hypothyroidism, she starts to have lethargy. Not
Oh,
now, a lot of inertia, or not now, later. I don't want to do it now. I'll probably procrastinate for a bit. So these are all ways in which this could be subclinical PCO, which you're not really knowing what's going wrong. And that is why a thorough hormonal evaluation is mandatory. There are times when patients come to me and say, "Oh, doc, but I just did my entire spectrum of tests in December of 2019. And now we're here in August 2020. And why do you think I need to repeat the test? Because every 3 months is when your blood undergo or your body undergoes changes, and I need to treat you with your recent reports. Believing some past values, which are now going to be of no use, does not really help in optimizing the treatment. So you need recent reports, a recent sonography in order to see that we can really work the best way we can for your therapy. Of course, now
so as
talking about
a
cosmetic
patient,
treatments,
after how time of interval should I continuously do my checkups?
I think
After
quarterly
in between,
works well. Quarterly.
what?
Every 4 months
You're
works
saying
well.
every quarter, but check how our polycystic ovaries have formed.
No, it all depends on how
Okay.
you're behaving. If all is well, then you can even push it to a half a year. But otherwise, if you're not having
Okay.
an optimum result, then probably quarterly is good enough. Now, we very
Okay.
commonly have girls who go into cosmetologists and they say, "Oh, doc, I've been doing my upper lip, my chin, my sideburns, and
Right.
my hirsutism just doesn't seem to come under control." So understand that unless you endogenously suppress your hormones, your cosmetic treatments are just not going to
Right.
help. You have to the ovarian hyperandrogenic state in order to see cosmetic benefits. So I always tell them that
Right.
before you hit a cosmetologist, it is better to go on a combination pill and then allow the cosmetologist to optimize your treatment. Otherwise, there's no point going in for too many lasers. You have to choose the best clinic for a laser because, God forbid, if the laser is not really calibrated optimally, it could lead to scars, it could lead to certain cosmetic
Right.
disbenefits as well. So you need to be very careful. There is no immediate treatment for anything, at least in
Right.
PCO. So
True.
you can't say, "Oh,
It's
I want to get rid of the hair, so I'm going to a cosmetic clinic which is best advertised and getting rid of my hair. In 8 days, you're going to see hair springing on your face."
right.
So you have to work hard towards it. You have to alter your diet. You have to come down with your weight. You have to take your tablets for cycle regulation. And then you go to a cosmetologist and there you see your benefits.
Right. Dr. Aditi is asking, but ma'am, what about low prolactin level?
Well, a low prolactin level should not really bother you at all. A low prolactin level seems good. Let me explain to you what is prolactin. Prolactin is the milk hormone. Okay? And normally in a patient who is lactating, nursing, is when the prolactin levels go up. But there are certain conditions in which the prolactin, in spite of having no lactation, can go up, and there the prolactin starts to create havoc in your body.
Right.
One is PCO.
Okay.
Second is if you're on a high dose of antidepressant drugs, anxiolytic drugs. So that could be one of the reasons. Or if
Right.
you're on a very prolonged period of antacids, then it could lead to raised prolactin levels. So it all depends on what the precipitating factor is. Also happens, Prachi, that patients say, "Oh, I took my I
Uh,
stopped, and I think we're having a connection issue, but we're okay
uh,
now. Are we okay?
there was a
So
connection
they say,
issue.
oh, I took, yeah.
Right.
So they say, oh, I took my prolactin treatment, and then my prolactin levels really fell. And then I stopped the tablets. You cannot really stop the tablets totally. You need to go on a low dose maintenance. Otherwise, again, you're going to go on rebound hyperprolactin.
Mhm.
And that
Okay.
is why I emphasize on quarterly testing of prolactin levels.
Okay. Understood. Aditi, I hope you got your answer. Kim Sharma says, best doctor in the world, my biggest support and guide. She cured me of PCOD.
Kim is my doll.
Uh, pick
Thank you, Kim.
my
Love you.
favorite doctor again.
I can't hear you.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much. Right. So, guys, if you all have any more questions, please note them down. Doctor, I want to talk to you about, are there any general myths or misconceptions about PCOD that you seem to come across often?
Yes, the first thing is that so and so with this form of therapy, the homeopathy or Ayurveda has told me that my PCO will disappear in 6 months.
Okay.
And then you have to really sit them down and make them understand. There's another category of patients who come for fertility who try too many things, Prachi. So they try homeopathy, they try allopathy, they try Unani, they try Chinese, they try allopathy, they try the works. Tell you that one cannot clump too many forms of therapy
Right.
because that could really misfire on the ovaries. Choose one option and stick to that. And be honest with your gynecologist about what option you're choosing so that you will not really harm your ovaries.
Right. Okay, doctor, thank you so much for all the so much awareness that you've shared with us today. You've given us so much
Always a
knowledge.
pleasure. Always a pleasure, Prachi.
Thank you so much, doc, for
Thank
curing
you. I wish all the viewers good health.
my patients and everyone else today. Sorry, please continue. You were saying?
So I said, I wish you all good health, and I'm always available anytime for you guys. I'm just a call away. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I really envy you for having those 5 months in Panchgani uninterrupted.
Are you
Have a
missing
blast.
love traveling yourself?
The day I can manage my e-pass, I'm coming across there for sure to see well.
Doctor.
Okay. So, with all the rest of the activity that we're going to do with SIVA, of course, you can keep updating the viewers about menopause and stuff like that. So, there's so much that we can discuss in the future. And let's see how they, depending on the comments and the inputs that we get, that whatever we could do for you. Okay.
Doctor's given us our next live session. So our next live session with Dr. Dhanu will be about menopause, as we've already announced it right now. So thank you so much, Doctor, for that. And I hope, guys, all of you all have gotten more insight towards what PCOS is. Stay healthy, stay safe. And Doctor, thank you so much. Nowadays, doctors are our heroes. They are our superheroes. And everyone is just praying to gods, doctors, as our gods. So thank you so much for all your help.
All the best. Stay safe, Prachi.
Dr. Dhanu, you all can get it.